everyone, I'm Becky.
I'm Sarah.
And we're doing Bickering. We're doing Bickering. We're doing Bickering book reviews. I'm sorry, I've had a really bad week. There was even a hospital stay.
She's okay.
It's okay. It's fine.
Right now, she's okay.
Yes. So, but today we are talking about the book Look Both Ways by one of our both all-time favorite authors, Jason Reynolds. We've been known to drive across the state to see him speak. And this was a very different...
But to be fair, we drive across the state to see a lot of people.
We
I'd drive further for him, though.
I would. He's worth it.
Every time.
And the talk is different every time, and he just
blows your mind
every time.
You're like, oh, I didn't even think about it in that way, but yes.
And so this book takes place. It's a story in 10 blocks, and each block is represented by a different character, and it's basically all these different kids about how they get home. And one is dealing with a bully. One group of kids is scrounging change for something that actually turns out to be very what's the word I'm looking for? Sweet. We'll say sweet. In multiple layers, actually. There's just different impacts. I feel like I can't say more than that without really giving away the story.
I think that's fair.
Yes. So this is different. I feel like...
So I think I was expecting, a long way down, right? Because
I thought it was in
this concept... Well, I wondered about that. But so with Long Way Down, that is the span of an elevator.
Right.
An elevator ride, right? And so with this novel in 10 blocks, I'm expecting to be hit hard and hit fast. I don't know if it ever really did that for me. And we were kind of talking about, so really what this is it feels like a collection of short stories with a kind of common, not theme, a common plot arc. Common plot arc, I think. Yeah. Or an overarching plot arc. But kind of, we were talking, and so with Jason Reynolds, the thing that is, his writing is phenomenal.
It's beautiful.
Phenomenal no matter what you're reading.
You're literally reading this book, and you're just the way he puts the words together on the page is poetry, even when it's not poetry.
It's phenomenal, and it's still phenomenal in this book. The other thing that I've kind of come to expect from Jason Reynolds is that you get these characters that you feel that you know them. That you've met them in real life and you know them. And being that these are short stories, I don't think you don't get to know the characters as well. So you don't get to know them as well.
And it's tricky because the characters you do see, and I keep going back, I guess the one that really kind of stuck with me was the kids that were trying to collect the change and what they were collecting the change for. And those kids, in the moment, did feel very real and did feel well developed. But when you read things like Ghost is so real. I remember reading Ghost, and where I was working at the time was very similar to where the book was set. And I was like, this is every kid in the library. And I remember I read All American Boys, and All American Boys to me is one of the greatest novels. Greatest novels, period.
Hands down.
And my nephew was reading it in school, and he had some questions, and I was breaking it down. And the character of Rashad in All American Boys stays with you for the rest of your life. And you just didn't have that in this book. And I liked, though, he does talk about how I feel like it shows how everybody in your environment impacts you, because the kids' stories kind of overlapped and kind of touched and kind of affected each other. And there were little things what binds you together, different things, and you don't look at people and you don't necessarily see how they're similar to you. So I thought that was incredible, but it was unexpected.
So I think what I kind of would have wanted is a short story, not a chapter or whatever, a vignette at the beginning, and then that same character, same kind of style at the end. I think that by bookending all of the other related but not same stories, I think that could have tied it all together, and it would have brought it to the level that Jason Reynolds typically puts.
So, but here's another question.
I don't know, but it's a Jason Reynolds book. It's great.
So that's my other question. If this book wasn't written by Jason Reynolds, would you think higher of it? Are your expectations higher because it's Jason Reynolds? Because
I wonder if that's the case. I really do.
I thought parts of this book were very beautiful. And like I said, like his writing, every so often I read somebody else's writing and I'm like, I wish I could write half as well as that. And he is one of those people.
Yeah.
And the stories he
tells. So maybe I've just set a bar higher because it's Jason Reynolds.
Right. I currently work in a more affluential area, and I had an African-American lady come in with her, 13-year-old son, and she says, we live a very comfortable life, but she says, I want him to see what other people like us are experiencing in other communities in a book that he actually would want to read. And I gave him Miles Morales, and I explained it to her, and I showed her, and I explained who wrote it, and she's like, that is what I want. That is perfect. So, I mean, I guess in my mind he's like a literary god. like he's up there. He is.
I guess the strange thing for me on this one though is usually when I'm finished reading a Jason Reynolds book, I'm like, that's the best thing I've read so far, and in however long. And I didn't feel that way coming away from this book. But
I could see this book on the Cretta Scott King list. I could see this book on the Newbery list. Yeah. I could see this book. Now, I will say, when I read Long Way Down, for the next 3 weeks, everybody I interact with, I was like, have you read this? Have you seen this? Have you? Right. This isn't out yet, but look, I have an ARC. I can share it with you. That was everything.
And I don't think I'm gonna get to that point with this. I don't feel that strong connection. I wasn't as moved by it. Not that it's not a good book. It's a great book. I mean, it's well written. It's well done. It's well developed. It's
on the long list for the National Award.
I think readers are going to enjoy it. I think the bar that I've set with Jason Reynolds books, just with this one, I wasn't as inspired.
We should just rate it. So our rating system starts at the top with 5 unicorns. We go down to 2 unicorns. If we don't like it, it's a horse.
3 unicorns.
I'm at a 4. It's still, just the beauty of it.
Yeah,
So that is where we are on Look Both Ways.
All right.
See you around. Bye.